is a Wood TV special presentation. Weathering West Michigan. Portage.
The trees are going down. Our fence in the backyard's completely gone.
My car is like crushed by a tree.
Yeah, there's a whole tree underneath my car. A tornado hit us. A tornado hit the houses.
Our store got hit pretty bad by the storm, and we have somebody trapped under a shelving unit.
Our roof is caving in our dining room, and there's water everywhere.
These are just some of the 911 calls made 1 year ago today when a tornado hit the Portage area, causing extensive damage. Good evening, I'm Brian Sterling. It all started at about 4:30 in the afternoon before touchdown when storm teammates started tracking that storm. From there, tornado warnings, damage visible on Storm Track Live. It was becoming clear that a tornado had not only touched down in Kalamazoo County, it had headed directly toward the city of Portage. Our meteorologist knew time was of the essence to get the message across that this storm was going to have a massive impact.
Yeah, and it was right here in the tracking center that our team began making split-second decisions that would hopefully save lives.
Viewers heard our coverage and found shelter in that storm. Amber Kriska spoke with one of the families about their experience and what was going through their minds as that tornado hit their neighborhood.
Large tornado confirmed on the ground, moving directly into the town of Portage.
I thought this is how we're going to die.
I just held my wife.
The emotions from that day are still there 1 year later. But Jim Bray and his wife, Lorice, are grateful to be alive.
We survived a tornado, for heaven's sakes.
May 7th, around 6 that evening, the sky turned ominous.
It was sort of a greenish, bluish, blackish color coming at us.
Right over the city of Portage here.
Lorice says she turned the television on to Wood TV.
And this thing is just north of Romans Road, just about to cross Lover's Lane.
The tornado was headed right for their neighborhood.
We knew that when Blake said, take cover.
The Brays quickly went to their safe place, the bathroom.
As we're closing the door, I could see out my window, and it was just pitch black. And there was a lot of just debris flying every which direction.
Being in that bathroom and in the darkness and just feeling that your life is going to end, probably, it was a feeling that I have never had.
As Jim had his arms around his wife.
We told each other that we loved each other.
Just seconds after closing the bathroom door.
We felt this big thump, which was the 14 trees falling on the backside of our house.
About 2 minutes later, a sigh of relief.
But everything was still here. We were alive. The storm was gone.
While their home was damaged. They would soon find out their neighbors had it worse in their community at Oak Brook Estates in Portage. Homes were damaged, destroyed, flipped over, tossed down the road. As people were taking a look at what happened, there was another tornado warning. Thankfully, there was no second tornado in that area, but the first round left a mess behind and kept first responders busy all night.
Our roof is caving in our dining room, and there's water everywhere.
My car is like crushed by a tree, so I had to get out of it, and I'm inside a tornado hit here, and she's got her broken leg.
The damage was extensive. 4 confirmed tornadoes in West Michigan. Pavilion Estates was severely hit, along with Sherwood. You can see this mobile home flipped on its side. And in Timber Creek Court, roofs were ripped off, trees crashed into homes and cars.
We are very grateful and feel blessed that there were absolutely no fatalities, and the 8 people that went to the hospital, it was for minor injuries. We do have over 100 families that have been removed from their houses as we've gone door to door and found that the damage is so extensive that people can no longer live there.
I felt really lucky.
For the Brays, their home has been repaired, but the reminders of what happened are all around them.
It's always in the back of your head that something could happen at any minute. That you're really not in control of it.
But one of the things that continues to provide them comfort, the love they have for one another.
Like we're still here.
In Portage, Amber Kriska, News 8.
For first responders, it's a day that they'll never forget, helping those in need as the tornado raged through the area.
News 8's Byron Tollefson talked with a Portage police officer who was there that day about what he saw during the storm.
We're on the other side of this intersection.
Get inside! Get inside!
That day, you couldn't see through to know that there was actually a tornado there.
Officer Brandon McMillan has been on the force for Portage Police for 17 years. He's seen it all.
Let's get inside. Any units? Take cover as appropriate.
Being called to duty May 7th, 2024 may outrank them all.
Absolutely. I don't know that I'll ever see this again.
That day, McMillan was the passenger inside a police cruiser being driven by a trainee.
Yeah, under a severe tornado warning in the area until 1845 hours.
They had just heard that a tornado was coming west from Paw Paw. It didn't take long to arrive.
And I remember looking across to the highway, and there was some debris starting to come off the trees, and instead of falling, the debris was going up into the air.
As debris swirled around them, they made it to the intersection of West Center Avenue and Cooley Drive in West Portage. It's an intersection that Officer McMillan will never forget.
And I watched the top of a tree come down and start sliding across the road, and I told her, I said, we're about to get hit. Just stay calm, be ready. And sure enough, the tree slid across the road and hit our car, and then it went complete black. We couldn't see anything for easily 30 seconds. Everything just disappeared.
Even though the storm went right over them, they were okay.
The center's going to be impassable.
After getting up, they saw two vehicles across the road leveled by the tornado.
I mean, they looked like they'd been run through a blender, and they were tossed off to the side.
Thankfully, the people inside escaped with only minor injuries.
All right, so nobody's been back to Greensboro yet?
After McMillan rushed to check if neighbors were okay, he began to process the damage left behind.
And I could see, like, the back of our patrol car had some wood that was had been wedged in or forced into the back latch area. My passenger's door was bashed in from the tree that hit us. Back behind us, this Bronson building, the roof was torn off and gone. This is Cooley Drive, and this was just covered with trees. Couldn't drive a car back there. It was just trees everywhere. Trees on cars, trees into the buildings, back porches ripped off.
He spent the rest of the day going through the city, checking on residents and businesses one by one. It was a path of destruction.
If you kind of stayed on the path of the tornado, I mean, it was carnage. It was just a mess.
A year later, while the tall trees that once stood at this intersection are gone, knocked down by the storm, things are back to normal here. But the memories will always remain.
Drive through here either on patrol or on my way into work, and I just remember what it looked like that day compared to now, and you just get taken back a little bit. It looks completely different.
In Portage, Byron Tollefson, News 8.
All the damage and rain just pouring in the middle of the house. I was shocked.
Coming up, a look at recovery efforts and how families are rebuilding 1 year after the tornado. At this very hour, 1 year ago, families across Southwest Michigan were climbing from the carnage, assessing the damage wrought by tornadoes that tore through 4 counties. Target 8 investigator student samples returned to Ground Zero, the hard-hit town of Portage, to assess where the recovery stands 365 days later.
You decide, but it's up to you. Did you get a coffee table?
It's been a rough road for the Latte family, but on this day, a quick detour.
The mattresses are upstairs.
Jesus and Kate have scaled much steeper, 2 toddlers in tow.
God help us all.
The trek began on that May day 1 year ago. The family, at least, was safe, having huddled in the basement of their Quail Street home.
And when I came upstairs and saw all the damage and rain just pouring in the middle of the house, I was shocked.
Shocked and scared.
Because the ceiling was falling in, I was afraid for our safety, especially with the babies.
In her daughter's bedroom, directly above where she lay her head, a tornado-tossed tree had pierced the ceiling and any sense of security. Angelina was a year and a half at the time. Giovanni, 2 months old.
Oh my God, help me. I was in complete shock. We basically, after we saw all the damage, climbed out of the front door, through the glass, through the down power lines. Look at the ground. Oh my God.
I know, you gotta get picked up.
Very rapid down motion. Debris in the air. There's debris in the air. There's a tornado there.
On the tempest's tail that day, meteorologist Blake Naftel.
And saw the debris coming up behind Crossroads Mall. That's when I knew, holy hey, there's a vortex there. Oh my, there's a quarter-mile wide tornado right there.
Over 22 minutes and 11 miles, 135-mile-an-hour winds damaged nearly 600 structures in Kalamazoo County, destroyed 60 of them, and injured at least 16 people. No one was killed. The Portage city manager estimated damage at around $30 million. 1 year later, the city says it has issued construction permits for approximately $16 million worth of work, meaning about half of the reconstruction is done or in progress.
I think we're probably further ahead than what I would have thought.
But city manager Pat McGinnis said a few businesses still haven't come back and a few dozen homes remain unlivable. That includes the Latte's home on Quayle Street.
And then this roof caved in completely, and there was a huge tree right there that landed on the house. And there's actually a hole through the side of the garage where a tree is still there. You can still see the tree right there. Actually, there it is. Yeah, still there.
For the last year, Kate and her husband Jesus have been wrangling with their insurance company, living out of boxes, moving 5 times to hotels and Airbnbs.
I've had my days. I've had a lot of support from family. Without their support, I would probably be homeless right now.
The Latte family and a whole lot of other folks had hoped that FEMA would come in with federal dollars, but the agency denied Governor Whitmer's request for a disaster declaration and, just this past January, rejected the state's appeal of that decision.
We probably expected it at that point because there had been several more massive disasters across the country that were draining those FEMA resources.
The state, however, came through with $3 million in aid, which is going to the hardest hit communities, individuals, and businesses through nonprofits like the Kalamazoo Community Foundation, the United Way, and After the Storm.
They have a pole barn, if you can believe it, out back, too, that has stuff in it.
It was After the Storm that arranged this excursion and bought a mattress for the Lattes.
The most important thing we do is the case management piece of it, which is identifying what are their needs versus their wants and identifying resources and referrals.
After the Storm helped those with the most immediate needs first, like the uninsured, but the requests for help kept coming.
We started getting calls from people who had insurance. They were going to be short, or there were things that their insurance company was not going to cover that they needed.
Oh my God.
Our survivors are really great people, and they were before this disaster, and it's just so nice to see really good humans after a disaster. That's just something really special.
Well, I would say we're still here.
It is the cliched silver lining, a town torn apart.
Now, finally, things are starting to get moving.
Emerging from the rubble, stronger than ever, together. In Portage, I'm Target 8 investigator Susan Samples.
Confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado located near Portage, moving east at 30 miles per hour.
Still ahead, meteorologist Blake Harms walks us through the significance of this tornado and how rare of an outbreak this really was.
May 7, 2024 was a significant night of tornadoes in West Michigan, particularly southwest Michigan, and the map of tornado warnings that were issued that night kind of paints the picture. In fact, there were some parts of West Michigan, including Calhoun and Kalamazoo counties, that received multiple tornado warnings within just a few hour period. The cumulative population that was under a tornado warning at some point, including duplicates, was more than 1.3 million people. That was as there were 17 tornado warnings or upgrades issued that night. Now, you may ask yourself, what's an upgrade to a tornado warning? Well, we actually had a few of them that coincided with our strongest tornado. So the Portage EF2 was given a particularly dangerous situation tag. Now that's an upgrade from a typical tornado warning. We'll explain what it means in a moment, but that was issued at 5:50, about 10 minutes before the tornado actually moved into Portage. It's one of only 15 particularly dangerous situation tornado warnings to be issued in the state of Michigan in the last 20 years. Even more rare was the tornado emergency that was issued for the Sherwood Union City EF2. That was issued at 6:12, the first ever tornado emergency and still the only in Michigan history. Those started in 1999. So what are different tags to tornado warnings? How can they get upgraded? Well, first you have to start with the base tornado warning. That means there's a radar indicated or an observed tornado that is either ongoing or imminent. That's what most tornado warnings are. Now, if there's a sign that there's either a lot of debris being picked up on radar, ground truth, or reports of significant damage being done, it can be given a particularly dangerous situation tag, which means a damaging, usually large tornado is ongoing. That was what we had in Portage. A tornado emergency is even more rare. That means a catastrophic, potentially deadly tornado is moving into a population center. It was issued for that Sherwood Union City tornado because the debris signature on radar was more than 1 mile wide. Thankfully, we didn't lose any lives in any of the tornadoes, but it shows you just how rare those upgrades are. Out of the more than 61,000 tornado warnings that have been issued in the U.S. in the last 20 years, just 2% of them have been a particularly dangerous situation warning. Tornado emergencies account for less than 0.5% of all warnings in the United States. That puts the tornado emergency that was issued for Sherwood and Union City in elite company. Now, of course, there were 4 tornadoes that ended up being recorded. 2 of them were EF2s, 2 were EF1s. Of course, the one that did the most damage was the Portage tornado. There aren't many tornadoes in Michigan. We all know that, right? Average about 15 per year. There have been 270 in the state since 2005. Only 11% of them are EF2 or stronger. To get 2 of those in one night is even more rare, and that's what puts May 7, 2024 in rare territory, not only in West Michigan, but in the state of Michigan.
Coming up next, meteorologist Sarah Flynn sits down with the National Weather Service about issuing those first warnings and how here at Wood TV we work to get the most accurate information to viewers, even when false reports come in.
Welcome back. As watches and warnings came in the night of May 7th, meteorologists at the National Weather Service, alongside Storm Team 8, were closely tracking the radar and real-time reports. Here's a closer look at what happens behind the scenes and the race to separate fact from fiction.
We knew that this particular area would be a target, probably for severe weather.
In the days and hours leading up to the Portage tornado, meteorologists at the National Weather Service were prepared for the worst.
We typically already have our staffing in place. We know that the threat is there, and we've already determined who's going to be doing what.
Turnage has been a meteorologist at the National Weather Service for decades.
So that's me issuing the initial warning.
The night of May 7th, his role was being a part of the warning team, a team that draws the polygons to issue the actual warnings.
The thing that got my attention about this storm was that it already had a circulation that was very persistent in Van Buren County, which is just west of Kalamazoo County.
Despite only a slight risk in place, level 2 of 5, the environment was favorable for large-scale thunderstorms and supercells. And as a supercell continued to move into Kalamazoo County,
certainly the fact it was hitting a populated area was a real concern.
Once that tornado warning was issued in Kalamazoo County, all eyes shifted to reports to see if, in fact, a tornado was on the ground. Here in the Storm Team 8 Tracking Center, we're able to communicate with the National Weather Service and other meteorologists across the state to see if those reports were confirming a tornado or if it was just radar indicated.
Just heard from our assignment desk downstairs, a scanner reporting a tornado touchdown 6 miles west of Portage near the I-94 corridor. So this is about to move over 131.
An actual touchdown and a possible touchdown are kind of 2 different things. So, you know, I'm listening for when the police arrive or fire arrive to kind of describe the scene.
Latour was at the assignment desk at Wood TV working to gather reports and determining what was fact.
And then reach out to public safety as well and say, okay, is what I'm hearing, is that actually happening? So it's now become, priority A1 at the desk.
But the challenge is not only getting in contact with those who can confirm these reports.
And folks, We just want to make sure that we're giving you accurate information.
It's sifting through the reports that may be misleading or blatantly false. One example of this.
From Kalamazoo County Emergency Management, we may have the news department have to check in on this potential hit at the FedEx building at Port Road and Stryker Way. A potential partial building collapse there at the FedEx building.
But that initial report was an exaggeration.
So you've got the huge warehouse collapse. Thankfully, I don't think that actually happened, but that's what we had heard.
No fatalities were reported at the facility.
So you have to keep that in mind, that very often the information you're getting is not firsthand. It may have been passed along, and you may be getting it third hand or fourth hand, and so things can sometimes get lost in translation or misheard or misrepresented.
As the sun rose on May 8th, the National Weather Service sent crews out to survey the damage. A vital step, confirming for certain which of the calls that came in that night were fact and which were thankfully fiction, kicked up by the winds of a powerful EF2 tornado. Sarah Flynn, News 8.
While the report of the collapse at the FedEx building was inaccurate, that building was still heavily damaged.
Yes, FedEx facility, our building's been hit by a tornado.
Okay. Are you in it?
Yes.
Okay.
There's probably 30 to 40 people here.
That was part of a 911 call from a worker inside that facility at the time of the tornado. We asked FedEx about the damage to that facility and the company's recovery efforts. In a statement to Wood TV, spokesperson Adam Snyder said, quote, "We continue to provide the excellent service level expected in the Portage, Michigan area. The building, heavily damaged in the May 2024 tornado, remains under construction, with completion expected in late summer. We are utilizing a temporary facility in Battle Creek and a portion of the safe, usable space inside the Portage facility to process volume for the area."
You know, I really didn't know what to see, but once you saw it, you just couldn't unsee it. It was unbelievable.
Still ahead on Portage Pride, Chief Meteorologist Ellen Baca taking to the skies to track the path of the tornado and get a bird's eye view of the damage left behind. The damage path the Portage tornado left behind is expected to last for years. Storm Team 8 Chief Meteorologist Ellen Baca takes us to the skies to survey the key damage points 1 year later.
Damage in Portage is still very visible from the ground, but pilots in our area say from the sky, the scar the tornado left behind shows just how extensive the damage path is and how narrow the zone of impact really was. From the sky, scenes of destruction, homes ripped open, trees laid flat, lives completely changed. Now, 1 year later, evidence of the Portage tornado still stands, especially evident from the sky. Here at the Kalamazoo Regional Airport, flight instructor Jeffrey Rogers saw the damage firsthand. His hangar narrowly missed, the tornado tracking only a few hundred feet away, crossing runway 1735 on the south side of the airport.
And that's the best way to describe it. It's just a scar that just comes right across Portage now.
Today, he's taking us up for a bird's eye view down runway 1735 and up to 1,200 feet.
And we're airborne.
Today, we're flying low and slow. The flight plan taking us over key points of damage left behind by the tornado. The goal is to see how the city has healed 1 year since the storm.
How often do you fly over this area?
Daily.
Yeah?
So, yeah, we do a lot of practice out in the practice area, which gets us across this quite a bit.
What was it like seeing it right after? Was it a little jarring or?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely shocking.
According to survey reports, the tornado first touched down just southeast of Portage, near 10th Street and West R Avenue. At touchdown, it was rated an EF0. Here is what the location looked like after impact.
And Kalamazoo Tower, 1817 Romeo. We're coming up on our first circle. 17 Romeo, roger, thank you.
Here is what it looks like today. Homes repaired, trees still telling the story.
You can see the patch right down there. This subdivision.
As this tornado continued to approach 131, we saw the wind speeds go from 70 miles per hour to 80 miles per hour, and then quickly 95. So very quickly, you can see how the trees are just laid flat as the tornado started to hug Center Avenue. The first 8 minutes that the tornado was on the ground, it largely missed a lot of buildings. In fact, if the path had just been a quarter of a mile further to the north, it would have been rolling through a lot of buildings and parking lots like the Hardings, near Fieldstone Grill, and Zingo. Instead, on the south side of Center, the first 8 minutes of this tornado path hit a lot of trees, but otherwise did not do as much devastation as it could have. From there, the tornado moved straight into the city of Portage. Here's what it looked like on impact. Damage survey reports the tornado was a strong EF2 as it slammed into Center in Oakland. The strip mall with Jude's Barbershop had the roof peeled back.
The barbershop that got completely decimated had people inside of it, and the one patron went in the back and he covered the two ladies that were in there. What a hero that guy was.
Here is what it looks like today.
That white building is the new building, the white top.
The strip mall is under repair. The blown apart building down the street, now a cleared concrete slab. Damage is not as readily apparent from the sky. After the tornado hit here 1 year ago, it had weakened slightly. At 6:04, it slammed into the rectory at St. Catherine's of Siena. At 6:05, it hit peak wind speeds of 135, shifting a house on Timber Creek Court off its foundation. At 6:06, it hit Westnedge and Shuring as an EF2, taking down some greenhouses with 120-mile-per-hour winds. From there, it moved to the Celery Flats.
And you can see Celery Flats and see all the trees and how they was devastated. And I think because of the marshiness, the wetness of the ground, and they just couldn't support the trees with those high winds.
I think you've really hit like a key point that it's not just the wind, but it's how the wind interacts with the material. So if a building is not made as well, or if you're in an unstable, marshy area, it's going to interact differently. That's why some buildings in the Portage area saw more damage versus others, even though they are subjected to the same amount of wind speed. The tornado hit Oak Brook Estates as an EF2 with winds of 130 miles per hour. Here is how it looked 1 year ago. Many units damaged, some blown completely away. Here's how it looks today. Where homes once stood, now clear slabs. Oak Brook Estates was one of 2 mobile home communities hit by the Portage tornado.
Roger that, 17 Romeo. We're going to bounce over to Pavilion Estates.
After ripping the roof off the FedEx building and crossing the Kalamazoo airport, the storm then moved towards Pavilion Estates. This was the last major damage point before dissipating. Here was the scene 1 year ago. This is the scene today. A cleared line of slabs showing the units that were rocked by the tornado. Meanwhile, units nearby completely untouched. It's so crazy to see just how intense the wind is in one narrow path. From there, the tornado fell apart over some farmland, weakening to an EF0 on the north side of East End Avenue. In the end, the Portage tornado was only on the grounds for 11 miles. But it's clear the path it took didn't just carve itself into our landscape, but into the very history of Portage itself. Ellen Baca, Storm Team 8.
You can't unsee the damage that's still here, and that we still got a little ways to go.
Bringing life back into Celery Flats Park. Coming up, a closer look at how crews are working to restore that historic area. The storm. Last year's tornado tore at a gem of Portage's outdoor landscape. The Celery Flats, the park, and the historical area still bear the scars from that storm.
News 8's Josh Sanchez shows us how both the city workers and the community have been coming together to bring the flats back to life.
Birdsong and people walking the trails. Signs of life at Portage's Celery Flats. It's a contrast to the devastation seen nearby and overhead in the days after last year's tornado.
It's hard to believe that just in a matter of a few minutes, how much a community can change.
Adam Herringa is the chief operating officer for the city of Portage. He says 48,000 trees were destroyed in the Portage area, with the flats being the hardest hit. Recovery at the park is delicate work that demands careful consideration and balance. Herringa says the city is working with the forester to plan the next steps.
The
Does it make sense to take down all the trees that are damaged, leave the ones that are interior if you're dealing with a wetland? So you've really got to be careful and cautious about where you go in, what you take down, and then, you know, you want to make sure where you plant that you're using native species and try to get this back to the way it was, but trees take a long time to grow.
Once a plan is drafted and costs are estimated,
you don't remove oak trees because of concerns with oak wilt during the summer, right?
Haringa says crews will get to work on replanting the park's once lush green canopy. Recovery has already taken shape along a section of the Portage Creek Bicentennial Park Trail, where infrastructure was in disrepair.
Train tracks, powered, there were a lot of repairs that had to be made fairly quickly.
The popular trail was periodically closed as crews installed new power lines and light poles. A large patch of hay and seed covered where once shady trees loomed.
It was just a matter of getting the trees that are in the way.
Haringa says seeing it all come alive again illustrates both the past and future for the park.
It does your heart good, but you also know, just looking around, that you can't unsee the damage that's still here, and that we still got a little ways to go.
While the natural landscape grows into its new shape, city crews are working on preserving the historical landscape of Celery Flats. The historical area of the park preserves 4 buildings of the city's early years. Haringa says he saw that most buildings were spared major damage.
There were lines down, everything else. So I actually came this way to try to get to work and then turned up the trail, which was a mistake, but then I saw that the hayloft had been hit.
Tarps cover parts of the barn that were blown in by the tornado, but that will soon be replaced as restoration efforts started recently, with expectations of it all wrapping up in May. A key part of the recovery has been the community rallying together, both with helping one another rebuild and lending a helping hand to Mother Nature by replanting new trees. It's a sign of a Portage bouncing back.
This community is filled with hope and optimism, and you can see it here at Celery Flats, where a lot of restoration has happened, and you can see the continued progress being made.
In Portage, Josh Sanchez, News 8.
So many in Portage had to watch as the tornado barreled toward the town, but for one Portage native, his view was from hundreds of miles away. News 8's Blake Harms has that story.
While the Portage tornado was producing winds to 135 miles per hour through the heart of the city.
The center part of Portage itself, on Southwest Nidge Avenue.
One person who drives that fast on Sunday afternoons was watching the events unfold from hundreds of miles away. Carson Hocevar is a rising star in the NASCAR Cup Series. But on May 7th, he was simply a Portage native living in North Carolina.
You know, I remember hearing something and a few buddies, or I got some tweets about it at some point, and I'm like, man, I should call mom or call my dad.
He was able to get a hold of his mother, who confirmed the family home had missed the brunt of the tornado. Then the phone rang again.
3 minutes later, I get a call back from mom, and I'm just like, well, she's not calling me to let me know, like, everything's perfectly fine.
His dad was inside the family business, Scott's Sports Cards, Coins, and Jewelry on West Nidge Avenue when the twister hit.
On a breaking weather situation in West Michigan tonight.
While immediate information was hard to come by, it was footage aired by News 8 that gave Carson a first look at the damage to the building.
We're also getting reports of damage at the Main Street Pub. Scott's across the street from the Main Street Pub. Scott's incidentally owned by NASCAR driver Carson Hocevar's father.
Luckily, I was able to have a lot of friends that were really close and able to see my dad's store on TV on the news outlet, and that's how I knew it was okay, because luckily, you know, they just happened to show my dad's store on West Nidge, and that's how I was really able to get updates of like, oh, I see my dad and I see them and everything.
The building suffered some damage to windows and signage, among other things. Thankfully, it was salvageable. But like so many other places in town, repair work continues 1 year later.
You know, it's still torn up. You know, my dad's store right now is just finally getting the roof repaired. Actually, right now, like, they got half the store closed because they're finally fixing the other half of the roof.
With Carson's primary NASCAR sponsor being Kalamazoo-based Ziegler Auto Group, work began quickly on both sides to begin relief efforts. 1 month after the storm, a fundraiser was held in Ziegler's Kalamazoo showroom. Complete with autographs and memorabilia auctions from Carson, the event raised more than $30,000.
It was really humbling for me to be able to do something like that. It'd be a spot where I can go do something like that, right? It's super cool for me.
Carson still makes it back to Portage to visit his family. Meanwhile, him and his sponsor continue to represent Portage in front of millions of race fans.
I think it works really well that Ziegler Auto Group gets to be a part of it also, and get to have a Portage sponsor with obviously a Portage driver.
Blake Harms, News 8.
Outside of the devastation brought to the Portage area, 3 other tornadoes hit southwest Michigan on May 7th. Coming up, a breakdown of those storms and the damage they caused. Three additional tornadoes touched down in southwest Michigan that day. Meteorologists Scott Larson and Matt Kirkwood break down those tornadoes and the damage they caused.
The tornado that touched down in Portage grabbed a lot of the headlines, Matt, of course, as it hit a pretty densely populated area. But there were some other tornadoes that did touch down on that Tuesday, May 7th, 4 different ones in southwest Michigan. That's actually about 20% of all the tornadoes that happened in the state for 2024.
Yeah, we were keyed in on the radar around the Chicagoland area as the cells that came out of Chicago. We knew we were going to come right into southwest lower Michigan. Rotating cells, we call them supercells, and this is the net result. No less than 4 separate tornadoes.
Yeah, 2 different EF1 tornadoes and then the 2 different EF2 tornadoes, including the one that extended from near Nottawa to the north near Sherwood. Let's get a look at the first tornado that touched down that afternoon shortly after 5 o'clock on the north end of Dowagiac near the municipal airport. You can see the path of that storm. It reached its maximum width as it was near the Twin Lakes area. A lot of tree damage in particular with this one.
Yeah, EF1 tornado, it's pretty impressive, but most of the tornadoes we get in Michigan, fortunately for us, are EF0, EF1 over 90%, and that one took a path to the north and east. So you can see some of the damage. One of those power poles snapped in half. Takes a pretty good amount of wind to do that.
Yeah, very strong winds with that tornado. We'll focus in on the second one. This was an EF2 tornado. It touched down at 541. It had a maximum width of 950 yards and also a pretty incredible path length at 19 miles, right?
Oh, yeah, and I like the path because, look, it splits Mendon, Nottawa, Cohen, Leonidas, and just north of Sherwood, and doesn't quite make its way into Calhoun County. But it was on the ground 19 miles. To give you some perspective, that'd be like if you're on Grand Rapids, going from Grand Rapids all the way up to Cedar Springs, continuous path. And so it's great that it split those, major population centers.
Right, and it did produce some tree damage. You can see that some of the trees were stripped of their limbs there. This photo comes from a drone from the Branch County Sheriff's Department. And then check out this damage that occurred to this home. You can see that the roof was pretty much cleanly lifted off. Some walls were taken down in that home. Some trees tossed on top of it too.
When you see a picture like that, it's good to know that there was only 1 injury out of all 4 of those tornadoes, which is remarkable. And here's something else that's remarkable. With that event, we didn't have another confirmed tornado in our viewing area until August, 3 months later.
Right. We did get a pretty large break in terms of the tornadoes. There was one more that spun off of that second EF2. You can see that was an EF1 in strength as that passed near Union City. That also had max winds up to 95 miles per hour.
And that wrapped it up for that day's episode.
That's right.
Still ahead, a community coming together during the unthinkable. A look at how strangers stepped up at a time it was needed the most. Portage Public Schools closed for 3 days following the storm to allow for continued recovery. No school buildings were damaged in the storm, but some facilities did lose power and phone service. Roads were blocked, preventing kids from getting to school. District leaders say the safety of their students and staff was the top concern after that tornado. Looking back, Superintendent Mark Bilang says that many students impacted by the storm were dealing with not only physical damage, but emotional damage.
Our major role became meeting their mental health needs. I mean, we had a lot of families that were in trauma. They were homeless. Our homeless liaison got involved right away to make sure that their basic needs were being met, that once school reopened, we had transportation for those students. We provided some basic necessities for some families, but for the most part, we wanted to provide a safe place for students to be so that we could help them process what had just happened.
And while the school was helping students get through this hard time, the students began helping the community.
A lot of our students stepped up during those 3 days and beyond, stepped up to help. We had student groups that were helping families clean up their yards, get rid of some of the debris, just support in any way they could. So I'm really proud of our students, and many of our staff members did the same thing. So the community came out, the best of the community came out during times of this kind of tragedy.
And if there's one thing that we know about West Michigan, it's that when disaster strikes, the community steps up. We're taking a look at how people came together to help rebuild, raise money, and simply show support following the storm. Around 30 people gathered at St. Catherine of Siena to help with the cleanup. Father Mark Viverman said people brought chainsaws and gloves to help pick up branches and clear areas damaged by the storm.
I think everybody was dropping by yesterday. We had so many people drop by. We had a work party that was here for a couple hours. Everybody had a chainsaw. They just cleared up the drive there that all the trees had fallen. And then we just kept on people. Father, could we bring you lunch? Father, could we do this for you? Father, what do you need? 2
Portage High School baseball teams used their rivalry game to pitch in. Portage Central versus Portage Northern renewed their rivalry less than 2 weeks after the tornado. They used the game to raise money for the Kalamazoo Community Urgent Relief Fund and the Portage Community Center to assist with storm recovery.
I've been saying Portage strong. You know, it's not Portage Northern versus Portage Central when it comes to something like this. There's bigger things than baseball sometimes. But just to be able to, like I said, to be able to use this platform to help everybody out it means a lot.
Businesses also getting in on the action. Bell's Brewery partnered with the Sounds of the Zoo to host a benefit concert in August. The proceeds were donated to the Kalamazoo Community Foundation, which provided relief to those families. And Consumers Energy offered community members free meals. They said to simply pay it forward.
We've been getting a lot of thanks in the community, and we want to say thanks to the community. It's been fantastic to see all of the, the groundswell of support from volunteers, from people donating materials, food. Just everybody really has been willing to help.
Donation sites were also set up to collect food, clothing, and other necessities. The generosity of strangers lifting those up at a time they needed it most. The storm only stayed on the ground for 22 minutes. It was 22 minutes that forever changed the city's history.
And while the scars are still visible today, it tells a story of more than the trauma of that night. It tells the story of hope, resilience, the strength of community, and what it truly means to have Portage pride.